Most people think that trauma has to be something huge and big and catastrophic to matter. Abuse, violence, catastrophe, and those things do matter. But here's another truth. Some of the most dangerous trauma is the kind that you don't even recognize. The ones that you have already brushed off and minimized and stuffed down and told yourself that wasn't that bad. Those are the wounds that end up running your life. I used to think the same. And up until I was about 25 years old, and I was sitting on a therapist's couch and telling myself, oh, my childhood wasn't that bad. But the truth, it was deeply painful. And when I finally admitted that to myself, it was like the floodgates opened. If you've ever told yourself, other people have had it worse, so you don't have the right to feel what you're feeling, you don't have the right to feel the pain, this video is going to be a huge eye opener for you, okay? Your nervous system does not measure trauma by the size of it. It measures trauma by the impact that it has on you. That means that all of those subtle, invisible wounds, the ones that you've already brushed off or written off, those are the ones that are shaping you, how you see yourself every day, that the lens that everything you do runs through. The way you connect with the others, the way that you move through the world, that you run your business, that you show up in your relationship or as a parent or whatever it is, right? And in psychology, we talk about big T and little t trauma. Big T trauma is the stuff that we all recognize, the accidents, the assault, natural disasters, rape, combat, and even events that overwhelm your ability to cope. People think that's all there is to trauma. Little t trauma is still very, very traumatic, much less obvious, but just as damaging over time. Things like chronic criticism, like when you were growing up and you got criticized for everything, emotional neglect, being teased for being too much or too sensitive, moving a lot as a child, watching your parents fight constantly. All of those are absolutely trauma. Individually, these things might not seem catastrophic, they just seem like everyday life stuff. But over time, these are wiring your nervous system to constantly be on edge, waiting for rejection, waiting for withdrawal. And here's how those small wounds show up later in life. The first one is abandonment fears. So, this is when you panic when someone doesn't text you right back or constantly worries. You're constantly worried that you're going to get abandoned or someone's going to leave your life, right? The second one is people pleasing. This is when you are saying yes, when you fully and completely mean no, and deep down, apologizing all the time, twisting yourself into these little knots so no one gets upset with you. So you have the illusion of keeping the peace. Addiction is the third way this could manifest, and that is reaching for it could be anything: food, alcohol, sex, porn, video games. And I don't know what that is for you, but you're doing something to keep your nervous system self-regulated because you never actually have that true feeling of safety and security inside. And the dark truth is that the very act of minimizing your pain is what's keeping all of those wounds hidden. This isn't about blaming your parents because healing is not about blame or shame. It's about liberating your soul. It's about understanding what's happening so you can make choices based on the truth and not these old programs and patterns that were set in motion through these little traumas. It's about liberating your soul from outdated survival mechanisms and programming. Healing is actually a remembering who you are, your truth, that you're not defined by any of those patterns that you inherited. I remember as a kid, I always worried about my mom. Some days she was really loving and caring. The next day she was lashing out. She was punishing me. And I internalized all of that. And I thought, well, if I was just good enough, then maybe my mom wouldn't be so mad. That kind of imprint does not just disappear out of thin air. It lives in your tissues, it lives in your subconscious mind. Have you ever heard that saying, your issues are in your tissues? Well, they are. And until you bring that into the light, that's going to stay that way. You can't just think your way out of these patterns. I wish you could. They live below your conscious mind. That's why I love hypnotherapy because it goes straight down to the root. It addresses the root of the problem, and then it clears everything that's in the way of what you are wanting to create with your life. It allows you to access those old patterns and rewire everything at the subconscious level. You walk out with completely different subconscious beliefs. And then we make you recordings to really reinforce that over the coming days and weeks. So it's just automatic. And you will see a night and day shift. It lets you finally validate that little you within you, your inner child who was dismissed for decades and decades. It creates safety in your body so you're not stuck in fight, flight, or freeze until the end of time. That's why even just one session of hypnotherapy can sometimes do what 12 to 20 talk therapy sessions could even do. So if you're going to take one thing from this video today, let it be this, please. Your pain does not have to be catastrophic to count. Every single wound is very valid. Every wound is healable. Every wound can be healed. The question is, are you going to continue to minimize that, or are you finally ready to give yourself full permission to step into that true freedom for you, for no one else, for you? You watching this video. If you're ready to start that journey, I do invite you to book a 6 or 12 hypnotherapy session package with me. You could get the Quantum Immersion series. That's a 4 week recorded hypnotherapy series for a lot lower of a cost, but that's really going to give you the opportunities to start peeling back all of those layers. And if you work with me in a professional setting, then you and I are going to sit down, whether that's in person at my office here in Fort Collins, whether it's on Zoom or on the phone, however you want. And we're going to peel back every one of those layers. And we're going to rewrite that story that has been running in your subconscious for so long. And healing is not about becoming somebody new, it's about remembering who you actually have been all along. So I hope you like the video if you want, subscribe to the channel if you want, drop a comment down below. Let me know. Have you had some painful little t trauma experiences? I'd love to hear from you. I also have a full hour long trauma education, trauma informed video. I'll drop that down in the description below as well. And yes, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one. Talk soon. Bye bye.